Welcome to Black Man Lab. We are live Monday, February 15th. Welcome, everybody. We're going to have a great conversation tonight, kind of continuing off of what we had from last week as we discussed Brother Mowley Davis's new book, We Need You. And tonight we're going to have a conversation that's going to continue that topic matter that we talked about last week with some of the young innovators, creators, and entrepreneurs that we have that are working on a project with us, the We Need You project. So with that, I want to get started. First and foremost, I have my partner in crime, Joe Barker, with me this evening. Joe, what's happening?
What's going on, good brother? Glad to be here tonight, man. It's going to be a great, energizing conversation with these young brothers, man. So thanks for bringing them in tonight.
Absolutely. And so just some housekeeping stuff every week that we do to make sure that we are of right mind as we go through doing these sessions of Black Man Lab. One of which is to make sure that we are centered and mentally in the right space to take in information. We do that every week because we think it's important for us to be able to be open to information and learning. So with that, I want Joe to go ahead and get us centered. Joe, if you could.
Absolutely. So, we are in the month, we're in the shortest month of the year, which is what they gave us for Black History, all right? But even within that, because for us, Black History is 12 months out the year, period. It's who we are. So in this month and each time, we want to be centered. We want to remove all the stress and all the pressures that the outside world wants to put on our shoulders. And we want to just kind of unwind and relax and let that burden of what is going on out there just drop off so we can be in a clear and comfortable space to hear from these young brothers this evening, to hear the knowledge and the wisdom and the way that they're leading us, to navigating through such challenging times as we have right now. So in order to do that, we want to send ourselves and be at peace. So simply, we're just going to take a couple of deep breaths, and we're going to breathe in, and we're going to exhale and get everything off our shoulders so we can start. So with that, what I want everybody to do is just take a very deep breath on the count of three. 1, 2, 3. Breathe it in. Hold it. And really offer you, let all of that power that it has over you. I myself may be challenged with some internet connectivity issues tonight. So if I'm in and out, I apologize. Just take from it what you can. Let's get one more deep breath so we can try and center ourselves a little bit. Breathe in. And let it go. Breathe out. Now, let's take in this wisdom from these young brothers.
All right, very good, very good. So one of the other things that we do every week is that we do libations, which is basically bringing our ancestors into this space. We want to make sure that those that helped us to get to where we are today, their spirit is in this space as well. Because they would be proud of this work. They'd be proud of these young people that we have. They'd be proud of our outlook in terms of what revolution looks like. So we want to make sure that they're here in the space. So with that, first and foremost, what I want us to do is to look to call on our ancestors that are from our worldly past. Right? When we talk about people like Nelson Mandela, we talk about people like Martin Luther King, people that have been national and international figures within our struggle. And I want to call on those. I want you to think about somebody like that in your mind, hold that in your mind, and then we say together, Ashe, Ashe. And then I want us to think about people. I want us to think about our ancestors in our own lineage, those that come before us, like, great-grandparents, Paw, Mama, those people that we know are in our family tree that made us what we are today. Think about those people for 1 second, hold that in your mind. And then together we put a fist up and we say, Ashe,
I say.
And lastly, we think about those that are coming in front of us, those that we don't know yet, those that are yet to be here to do this work in the future. We think about those people and we hold them in our heart, our fist in the air, and we say, Ashe, Ashe, Ashe.
Oh,
All right. With that, brothers, we are here. We are ready to get started. Right now, we have with us two of our young lions, I like to call them, from our project that we have. Those of you that don't know, so Maoli Davis wrote this book, We Need You, and it's a call to action, really, for our young people. He wrote it specifically for his sons. When he first started writing, he was taking Kobe, my godson, off to Howard, and then on the return trip back from dropping him off, he started penning it, started writing, thinking about messages that you wanted to have for your children. And then from that, which was 4 years ago, it grew and grew and grew as things continued to happen in our society. And he wanted to make it even more poignant. With that, he's finally finished the book. And then also, what he came up with this amazing idea of being able to have our young folks within our community. Right now, I think we have like 80 something, right, Joe? 81 people. Is that what it is, El? So we have like 81 young folks that are creative in some form or fashion, whether they are hip hop artists, whether they're singers, whether they are visual artists, whether they are spoken word artists. We have a lot of folks that are using their talents for what we are trying to accomplish, which is each one of the chapters of the book having a song written about it, and also different art pieces associated with it. The idea behind this was to make sure that our young folks had something to get them engaged, get them involved in looking at civil movement, right? Looking at being leaders in the community. I have to tell you, from what we have had with this project so far, I couldn't be more proud of these young folks and their level of creativity and innovation in putting this together, this information together. As it's done toward the end of it, I think that we are going to have some incredible content that will stand the time and will also incite other young folks to get involved in the movement. With that, I want to introduce a couple of our young folks that we have on the panel this week for their perspective on the We Need You project. First up, were you going to say something, Joe?
yeah.
You're breaking up really bad, Joe.
Do a quick intro of who they each. Am I? Man, sorry about that.
Yeah.
Tell you what, go ahead and I'm gonna come back. Go ahead.
Okay. So brothers, I want you to introduce yourself to the Black Man Lab audience. Just give a quick intro of who you are and kind of what your part is in the project, and then we're gonna jump into questions from Joe and myself. So first up, Big L, my man, L. Come on and give yourself an introduction, young king.
Yeah, my name is Elyahmen, son of Melik and Latanya. Primarily, I'm a son. I'm an uncle. I'm a nephew to y'all, to the movement. And right now I study psychology, primarily on the organizational side, moving into somewhat of the security insurance business. But for the most part, man, I'm just a son that's trying to shine. I guess in terms of this project, some of the hats that I've been wearing is 1/3 to the directing team for the film crew. Just one of the marketing captains. I've been in charge of doing the treatment for the music videos. I'm 1/4 or 1/5 of the merchandising team, and just trying to put my hand wherever I need, wherever I can assist.
Good stuff. Yeah, and I'll say this, L, because group that I was kind of overseeing was the one that you're involved with, and you've taken a great leadership role with the group, and you know, your fellow fellows, because that's what we're calling these young people, is that they are fellows because they are getting a stipend for the work that they are doing. But El, you're doing a great job as one of the leaders, so we appreciate you and we appreciate that energy. Your brother Sabre.
What's going on, brother? You doing all right?
Doing well, my man. Give yourself an introduction and talk about kind of what you've been doing with the project.
Just similar to L, man. Just being one of the older brothers on the team. Just really on every team. I'm a part of Team 3, but really it's just our job to kind of just pick everybody's brain and make everything make sense and just help them kind of coach these ideas. A lot of them grew up together. A lot of them in the same circle. So it's been fun, man. It's been different. And like you said, it's been powerful. What they've been able to create has been special to just be around and interact with. So I've been kind of in the photography role as far as making sure the pictures are taken care of, as far as the marketing rollout, as well as just chipping in and being a listening ear for every other role, from the marketing to talking to L as far as treatment for the videos. Just chopping it up with everybody and just making everything make sense and being a helping hand to some of those younger people, as well as some of the brothers who have been a part of the team. I'm kind of new to it, but a lot of different skills that we can put to use. So it's been fun, man. It's been a learning experience, definitely.
Sure. And I think, you know, to your point, I've seen you, Sabre, and you've been very active as well as a leader. And it's interesting to watch you guys while you're leading, you're still learning too, because our mentors that we have that are helping out are tremendous as well. So again, kudos to you. I think that you guys have been doing an amazing job of kind of helping to connect the dots amongst the group. So thank you all for that. Brother Malik, I'm sorry, not Malik. Awesome, are you there?
Awesome. I'm here. What's up, y'all?
Hey, how you doing,
What's going on,
brother?
brother?
Yeah, how everybody doing?
Cannot complain, my man. So give a little introduction of yourself, brother, and what you've been doing with the project.
Well, my name is Awesome David. I'm a sophomore over here at Georgia State. And so basically, I was able to do a lot of music with you guys. So I was working, contributing as an artist. So I was coming in on the feature for a couple of songs. I was also able to make mine. I'm also in the clothing sector, so it's me and Zuri over there. And so now we're trying to create things that people can wear, fashionable items and stuff for the youth. So me and Zuri are starting to work on that. I'm not too much in the marketing sector, but overall, we're still trying to get some things going over there, get a couple meetings so we can start kicking everything out and start publishing things and getting exposure for everything.
Cool, good stuff. Hey, so I'm going to start us off with one question, then I want Joe to jump in and ask you guys some questions as well. Let me ask you this: from when you first got what this project was about, what were your thoughts when you first understood that Brother Mowley had written this book and what we were trying to do around the book? What were your first thoughts as you got the information? And El, I'll start with you.
Yeah, when I kind of first got the call, one, like I said, being a nephew to my ones that have been approved as my uncles, I'm gonna answer. And then, so as me and him talked about it, I had not seen the book yet. He had sent it to me that night. I kind of just skimmed through the chapters. Then when we were assigned chapters, I think that was probably my biggest, wow, this is a moment. Because my two chapters, it just spoke about, every movement, every real call to action for us with that melanin in our skin has had a form of spirituality to it that oftentimes is not spoken of. And as I look into my generation, Sabre is one of my good guys that I keep next to me to keep me sharp. You know, we don't necessarily have the same spirituality per se, but we know that it's needed. And it just got us and makes us move and stand on a moral principle thing.
Mhm.
So you talk about when I got the call, I mean, I just kind of, that epilogue spoke to me. And then chapter 2, just speaking about how rare do in the conscious community, and I've seen it, and Sabre and I had laughed about a moment with him that I'm sure we'll probably even talk about on here tonight, but rare do you see the older generation know how to talk to the younger generation. There's plenty of times where, they disrespectful, or they rude, or they don't want to listen to nobody. But when we talk about communication, Sabre and I also run our 2-force of this group called the Next Level Success Academy. And this month we're speaking to them about communication. And nonverbal communication is still a form of communication. So oftentimes the turning of there's a offset in the older group that's just like, man, you young, what the fuck do you know? And it turns as a young person, as a young male, as a young Black male who's already got the world not looking at him as if like our own. You know, and it's granted due to some maladies that's been put in place, but our own look at us sometimes like, man, they out of control. You know, the quote unquote term wilding that made the Central Park 5 who they was. Wilding is enjoying yourself, but it got everything we do is so criticized. So just when chapter 2 spoke about how this elder was able to speak to Baba Mauli as he was exiting that Navy or being a Navy corporal. I think I don't want to get that confused, but be able to speak to him and not ridicule him for being in the Army and just look, you got a role in this too. That was everything to me, because one thing we're lacking in today's age is community and the passing of the baton.
Amen, brother. Amen.
I think
hey,
that
I want to
Go
get
ahead, Joe.
Sabre on here just because I know Sabre has to jump off here a little bit for that Success Academy that Brother L is talking about. So Marty, your question is critical. If you can repeat it, but I want to get Sabre's answer before he has to jump off.
Sure. So Sabre, I don't know if you'd heard the question, but it was what was how did it affect you when you got the call or when you came to understand what this project was about? What were your thoughts?
Personally, man, it was powerful for me, man. Like El is saying, El hit on some real major things that the book broke down, as well as just like small things that you wrestle with as a Black man in the community. Like just understanding we all got a role, like no matter what role anyone plays, not to, make anyone feel small in the community. And it was kind of, it was one of the books, like once you started reading, like I read that book in probably in a couple of nights. Because once I started reading it was just like, oh no, I got to get through this, because it just took you through not only like a personal experience with Maoli, but also it took you through a lot of things that you go through. Like I saw a lot of the same experiences, like him experiencing the brother with the bookstore and while he was still in the Navy, and just kind of getting so much gain from him, from somebody. I always think consciousness comes from you running into somebody who is conscious, who really, exercise grace with you, and they take their time with you, and they just kind of understanding that we're all kind of socially engineered to have a certain way of thinking and treat our people a certain way. So when I was just hearing Maoli go through that, I was like, dang, like I in my mind, you don't think like brothers like Marty, brothers like Joe, we don't think that y'all had that moment, because we met y'all at a certain level of consciousness where we like, we aspire to be on that level. So to hear what to read it and be walked through it, it was real special for me. It was like, okay, so the things that we're going through and the things that are taking place right now, it's not something that ain't gonna happen to everybody on the path. Like it's something that everybody has to go through. It's something that, we all experience, and it's nothing to get tired of, especially with dealing with, the experience of being in the system and dealing with how your people treat you and everything that happens. He said something in the book where he was like, your people are spit in your face and not even realize it. And I was like, man, like, not only that, but just all of his experience, they were just weighing on me, man. So I'm gonna try and stick around, man, because I know we got the class, but I'm gonna try and give y'all as much information as I can. I'm gonna stick around for a little minute, but
Appreciate that, man.
Appreciate that, Bree.
And you both you and Elle said some things there that are kind of integral in terms of what Black Man Lab is about, right? That piece of number one, which you were just talking about, Sabria, you're reading it and you're like, oh, I can't believe, he's had these same kind of experiences. Or you say from talking to somebody like myself or to Joe, and you hear us be able to have that kind of commonality that you all are experiencing right now. We've experienced it before. What I think our generation and maybe generations before us failed to do was do a really good job of communicating it down. And I think that this book project is doing a great job of that. It's giving us the opportunity to have these communications back with those that are coming after us to make you all understand how important you are in the next step, right? Because that's where the disconnect has been. I mean, think about it. When you look, we see a lot of stuff occurring today that happened back in the civil rights days, right? We see a lot of stuff that's just repeating itself. Well, what do they say that the definition of insanity is, doing the same thing over and over again, getting the same results, right? So that tells us that something needs to change. And a big piece of what needs to change is being able to hand it off. Because we have been so locked into, our oppressor's mindset. Now, I want you to hear that. Our oppressor's mindset of holding on to power. And that happens in our own community, right? That happens where we have civil rights leaders or people that have been in leadership positions. And what do? They hold on to it rather than handing it off to the next group of people. So we wind up having a cyclical thing. So I love hearing the fact that you guys are seeing that from that point of view, because it is important. It is important for us. Hell, we are on as I like to say, we on the back end of life, folks my age and older. All we can do right now is give it out. It's all we should be doing is giving out the information with the hope that you all can take it with your high level of intelligence, creativity, and innovation and run with it. And we've seen that in this project. We're seeing that. We've seen that here's some information for you all, and you're already forming these incredible different pieces of creativity, whether it's writing, whether it's the music, whether it's the pictures, you all on the camera, we're seeing it. And that's what we need moving forward. Let me stop. I get to talking about because I get excited about this work that y'all are doing because it just warms my heart. But let me go to Awesome. Awesome. What about you, man? What have you been seeing when you first got the call to be part of this project, and then getting involved in what did it all come together for you really quick, or was there kind of a light bulb moment where you were like, oh, I see where this is going. I see what it can be. Tell us.
You're on mute, brother. You're on mute,
bro.
There you go.
Thank you. So I was introduced to this whole concept and everything by Mr. Thompson. And so at first I was just going through, and I know you guys sent out an email or survey and you had to fill that out. And so I was filling it out, and these were like deep questions. And it was talking about how, like, if you're a business owner, if you are a man of power and you're in a community, how would you like help that community? And so one thing I put on there, I was just talking about how we can all start locally, any Black-owned business, and start investing back in Black-owned businesses. And so basically, after that and stuff, I started getting into the actual concept and idea. So originally, I was just gonna do clothing, and that was the only thing I was gonna do. But since we had breakout groups, I figured music would be the best route. And so I was able to really picture a lot of things happening, especially after reading the book. We had a meeting, and it was like 6 hours before. I was like, let me read this book. So I read the book, and it was really powerful, especially the early chapters. I know there was a chapter on "We Need Y'all" or "We Need You." A lot of you guys came down, especially when a lot of stuff was happening in the Capitol. There was rioting and everything. And so I made a couple songs on that. And so even even doing that was like a great opportunity. So I really want to thank you guys for that as well.
Well, we thank you, man, and we're glad to have you as part of it because, again, all three of you brothers have been acting in great leadership positions and showing leadership. You know, sometimes leadership isn't about barking orders or doing anything like that. It's more about your actions. You all's actions have been that, about leadership. And look for y'all to do that. And I'm going to say this, and then I'll hand it over to Joe because I know he had some stuff he wanted to ask, or I should ask this. I read the book. You know, I have a little bit of a different perspective of the book because I, know what Molly's going through. So I read it relatively quickly. I read it in a couple of hours. What about you guys? How long now? Austin, you said it took you basically 2 days or so to read it, or
it was like 8 hours. Just sitting down.
Okay, yeah. What about you, El?
Yeah, I've had the chance to read the book front and back.
And how long did it take you to read it?
I think I kind of gave it a full day. In all honesty, at first I was skimming through, and then I had to go to the office to do something, and I ended up just reading it. And he even gave me I think I was the first person to reread read the re-edited finish of the book.
Yeah.
So yeah. And then I got a personal copy signed, so that kind of enticed me to go ahead and do my thing first.
Look at you. You got his best boy missed that. I don't even have one of them, man. So here you go. It's a really relatively easy, quick read. What about you, Sabre?
It was like 2 nights. I know we had that meeting on Saturday, and I didn't even get to it until like Thursday evening. So when I got it on Thursday evening, when I got through that first half, I was like, oh no, I had to get up Friday morning, so I got my rest. But I was like, oh, I'm coming back to this. Like, so it was so enticing. 2 nights, I was done. A couple of hours, I was like, no, I gotta read that.
Yeah, it was really engaging and quick read, almost to the point where you're like, and I told him this. I said, even after finishing the book, I was like, now you need to start on, book number 2. We need you too, because it's a continuing story. It's a continuing story. So with that, I'm gonna hand it over to Joe. Joe, you had some questions you wanted to ask.
I got a couple things. Don't go nowhere, Marty, because you the pro at this, man. But I got a couple things been on my heart all day, and I'm not going to take away too much time. And I want to talk about the We Need You project, but I want to talk about it in the context of some of the things that are going on as well. So looking at my feed today, I've been in the board meeting most of the day, and so I couldn't address it as passionately as I wanted to. But there's a brother, he's an attorney, and I won't get into names because we have a lot of followers and I don't want to offend anybody. But there's a brother that posted something today about the new movie, Judas and the Black Messiah, and posted a great comment. But then he said, and I'm so frustrated with everybody that's giving the brother that turned him in and so forth. I'm so frustrated with everybody being mad at him. And, this is just a young brother and the FBI didn't give him a choice. And that just made me flip, man. Cause I'm like, El and Sabrina, we talk about every week, choices. Everybody got a choice. And I'm so frustrated because this attorney has a lot of influencers. And when the person challenged me, I'm thinking Molly Davis made a choice. He's walked away from money, from donors, from all kinds of things, because he made the choice to support his community, to put that number one. So what I want to ask you all, each of y'all, and awesome, you're in a little bit different space than Ellen and Sabre, but still all of y'all are in a space where you're influencers. How important is it to make a conscientious choice to support your community in a project like this and the other work that y'all do? Why is that so important? And why have you been that way for so long? Because you guys, El and Sabre, from day one, A1, when we talk hours on end. Why is it so important to y'all to have made that choice and continue to make that choice every day? It'll start with you, El.
I mean, you talked about choices, and you know how important those are for me. I think we also often talk about choices in the Black community, but little do we talk about options. And in order to make a choice, you got to have options. That's why I don't condemn gangbanging, because it is an organization. What you have to do is meet their level of energy that they're giving out if you want to deter somebody from joining those organizations, because the same energy that the church gives, that the mosque gives, that school gives, all of those things are being given to a young child who is not fully developed in their own head. So they're not off rip thinking, oh, my homie in the gang. They thinking, oh, my homie got protection. Oh, my homie has friends. Oh, my homie has acceptance. Or my homie has love. Now, we know in our older heads that it is a false sense of some of those things, but at its core level, the things that we look at on I don't like to give them credit, but Maslow's hierarchy of needs is real. At the core level, those things are being met. Uncle Marty, you from Chicago, just like my folks are. Those things are being met. Now they taken and being manipulated, but they're being met. And so when we talk about choices, man, I'd be damned if somebody say they don't like that, how people condemning the brother for turning in the chairman, Fred Hampton, at 21. At 21, you was able to get to. It frustrates me so much, but at 21, you was able to gather, man. We're not just talking about organizations. He was changing what the Black Panther movement was. He's getting the white allies. He's getting street gangs. He's getting everybody, the brown berets. They were joining the movement. He's gathering all these people like, hold on, pimp, we all being oppressed. Let's get at it together. And for you to think that you had to turn him in, man, I can only imagine whatever was in your heart, whatever is in your spirit had to be so damning. I can't, you can't not be whooped by the community. I think too many times we be trying to give passes. Some people got to get whooped by the community.
Right. Because that's what happened, bro.
That's how I grew up. When my brothers and us did wrong, my father put us in a circle and you had to get whooped. We're not finna beat you down till you bleed, because it's out of love. That ain't what we doing. But what we are gonna do is let you know, you gotta get corrected. Same thing when I was moving a different way with some other organizations. When you disrespected the crew outside of our home base, when we get back to base, we gotta touch on you to let you know that's not how we move. So I think too many times in our community, we can be understanding, but to be understanding sometimes still means you have to deliver punishment. Your mama done loved you plenty of times and gave you whoopings.
Right. And hold on, El. I want you to continue, because you've made a choice. You made a choice given everything that's out there, but you want to be involved with Next Level. You want to be involved with the We Need You project. Like what is it that's in you? And this is for each of the three. Here's my question. What is it that's in you that said, that's the choice I'm gonna make? It doesn't matter what I lose on over here, over there. I'm gonna make this choice for my community.
I mean, one thing for sure is one of my biggest things in life has always been history, which is why I like psychology, because psychology dives into a very personal history. But history is needed to be accounted for, or else you repeat the same mistakes. There are times if people watch Napoleon, they wouldn't have gone to Russia in the cold, or you'll lose every time. If we watch COINTELPRO, we would not have procedures and different standings for people to join in. We can't. Those things would be in place. If you saw what happened to the Black Panther movement, we saw it got destroyed because you started accepting everybody. Everybody don't get accepted, man. That's why the numbers die down as you reach higher in sports. As you go to college, the numbers are chopped. Huge. It's a huge chop. It's a huge difference. As you go from college to professional, it's a huge difference in who gonna make it. And I think we don't have too many procedures, because too many times we fall victim to still being this falling victim to our openness as a people. We open. We love everybody.
Right.
Our nature, I always tell, me and Sabre rap about it. Our nature to the unknown is not the same as the white man's. We develop a relationship with it and then figure out what it is. They destroy it, kill it, and then let me dissect it. That ain't how we move. Yeah. But now we have to understand that openness cost us. It cost us. That's why we here. It cost us. So now moving forward, we can't be open to everybody. Hold on, bro. I know what the nature of your beast is. I can't just let you in my space. Right. Whether it's our own or somebody else. So you ask me, why do I make a choice? Because I made the wrong choices at a very early age. And so at 25, I now know what the right choices look like. I always tell my dad, I lived life unconvictionally, and it cost me. But I'm still here, so it was still a great lesson. And so now at 25, I got to live consciously and make sure that when my uncles call, when my aunties call, that I answer the call and show up as me and nobody else.
Amen, brother. Thanks, El. Appreciate that, man. Appreciate that. Such great context. Sabre, man, I don't know if you're still able to be with us here for a few more minutes, but I'm hoping that you can kind of awesome. Sabre, man, tell me about you, man. Tell me about why did you make the choice to just continue to be involved, continue to make that decision, knowing what you may be losing on one end or another. Why do you make that choice, Sabre?
I mean, to be honest, I like to weigh options. Anything I do, I weigh the options. And I don't really feel like I lose anything with investing in the community, with investing my time, with investing my essence, with putting my energy and my time. Like, I feel like I've lost a lot of energy and a lot of time investing in people who got ill intentions. I got a lot of wasted time in jobs that don't got intentions of, putting me in a position that I tell them that I want to be in. But I feel like even with my people, win, lose, or draw, no matter how much time or energy I put into them, it's genuine. Like, it's always felt genuine from when I started doing this at a young age. And I ain't somebody who, come from a conscious background until I really got into, higher high school or early college. That's when I really started coming into my consciousness. So I don't feel like we lose anything. And like you said, like, I got a code. So when it comes to the brother who turned over, Brother Fred, you see, like, he committed suicide. And a lot of times we're in that position, like, we get put in such a tough spot as Black people that we're not willing to deal with the consequences, and we're willing to turn over our fellow man to get out of our own. Because like we seen in the movie, and like we all know the history, he was in the situation before he got into the Panthers. You know what I'm saying? And unfortunately, that was his way out. He was like, okay, cool. I put myself in this situation, and I'm gonna use Chairman Fred and the other brothers, because it wasn't just Chairman Fred who passed away. Another brother was killed in the shooting. Beforehand, there was there were so many people. But I feel like we need a group of conscious brothers who are understanding of a code, and as well as understanding of their people. Because like El is talking about, sometimes I know people's nature. And as much as I love Black people, I'm like, a brother from the nation killed Brother Malcolm, you know what I'm saying? Brother from 60s killed Brother Nipsey. Like we see a brother from the Panthers was the resulting factor in Chairman Fred being killed. So 9 times out of 10, we got to understand our own nature and understand that decisions and choices, like you said, like we talk about all the time, they're going to make a man out of you regardless, whether you want to be or not. And you're going to have to live with them. And I don't want no decisions that I can't live with. Like what I see with the brother, God rest his soul, with him committing suicide. It's like, dang, like how you experience something that you can't deal with personally to where you got to take your life. Like, I don't want to look back on what I know about my community and say, damn, I went and got a 9 to 5 and I turned my back on it. I ain't have to worry about it. I was like, nah, if we don't do something about our situation, ain't nobody gonna do nothing about our situation. So I'm here.
Appreciate that
for the long haul.
Appreciate that, Sabre. Appreciate that so much. And it's funny because Marty had mentioned some things before about if we don't know our history, we're doing to repeat it. Some great things that were said last week, Marty, or I can't believe, maybe it was the week before, where somebody said if you don't know the greatness of your history, you can't repeat it. So it's the flip side of that same coin. But that whole COINTELPRO, fellas, like, I'm so glad to see y'all learning from it, because you and Sabre both said it, L, and you hit the nail on the head. We such a compassionate and forgiving and loving people, and you know, Botham John's brother gonna hug old girl in court and say I forgive you, and we do all this. Meanwhile, we just continue to make those same mistakes. So I'm so glad to hear you brothers speaking on that, because that is something that we should learn from, right? I mean, as a Christian, I tell the story all the time. Everybody talks about Jonah and the whale, and you know, it was a great story, you know, and he was able to escape and do all these great things in Nineveh. But I don't look at Jonah. I look at the captain of the ship. The captain of the ship didn't do anything wrong, and they're like, they ship about to turn over. And what's wrong? And if you read the chapter about Jonah and the whale, they were about to throw him off the boat. They were about to throw him off the boat because they recognized this dude isn't aligned with where we're headed. And what he's causing is about to get us all killed. And they were about to throw him off the boat before he decided. So I love hearing you brothers say that, man, because I truly feel that's a lesson that we should have received during our generation, that you guys have, and you're putting so much intelligence into that decision making and how you move with things. And I see y'all do it daily, man. It's awesome. Awesome. I want to get to you, man, because I know you might be on a different plane or thought process, but still, man, you yourself, you have a choice to have been involved in this or not. How do those choices to get involved in this? Why'd you make that choice? What is it that said this is something I have to do, and why?
So originally, like even growing up, I was in an environment to where I couldn't express myself creatively, so like through creativity. And so being in that environment, you wonder if you're ever gonna be able to express yourself. And so through making clothing and through art, as well as singing, I was able to do those things. And so once you're able to really like express yourself and do those things, you kind of feel like you feel a calling to almost do that for others. So then you make the choice to make whatever you do, whether you rap, you sing, you do poetry, you can express that and share that to the community to then inspire other people. And so that's what I believe we're doing as well. We have everybody coming together, bringing their talents to the table, and we're making that choice to then help people and inspire the youth to be able to do whatever they aspire or whatever they want to do. And so I believe this is a great example of that as well.
Man, it sounds so empowering. And I mean, just the word I'm taking from all of what y'all doing is empowering each other and empowering the brothers and the sisters around you. So my next question, let's get back to the We Need You project specifically. And Awesome, I want to start with you this time. How's it been going in the group, and what has y'all's focus been? I know El kind of talked about his a little bit with chat too, but we're going to just unpack a little bit more. Specifically, how are things going? What are y'all working on? What's that energy look like?
Okay, so first off, I am part of Team 3. And so every team is split up. It has a whole bunch of, it has a variety of photographers, business people, artists. So they're all a combination of different people with different thought processes. And so basically everybody's doing different things, whether it comes down to marketing or just making music or doing clothing and doing poetry and things of that nature. And so by splitting us up, but still having people who are in different groups or do multi things, like one person may do clothing and sing. And so mixing that up and having those Black creatives in that environment really helps. And so from there, we've been able to really progress. And so now we have an anthem. That anthem's kicking. We have tons of rappers on there as well. Everything's looking good on the music. And so now that we're done with the music, we want to get everything visually represented. And so we do that through the video, the shoot, having some stylists or designers have certain apparel for people. So we're moving pretty swiftly and getting a lot of
nice.
So everything's looking good.
Awesome, man. Thank you for that update. El, how about you, man? How's your group going, bro?
Yeah, so I am part of Team Sykes, the greatest group that's in this fellowship. No disrespect to the rest of the teams.
Here we go.
But
I love it.
nah, everything is working, man. We majority of our members in my group, we have a lot of artists in terms of the music business. We have about maybe 2 or 3 visual artists in terms of art, painting and physically painting. And then we have a couple poets, and we've all just, I want to say literally almost every member of my group is on a track on the album that's coming out.
Okay.
So for you guys that's listening, there will definitely be an album coming out that you will want to play. We also have, my particular role is just in charge of the visuals. When I was younger, I definitely was always behind the camera. I almost wanted to go to school doing that versus soccer, but I didn't really like somebody telling me how to get creative. So I turned down my full rod and, kept it. And a part of that, I'll be truthful, is the art is not as pushed in our community as I think it needs to be.
Okay.
That's why you see so many of our youngest becoming rappers now, because they're, at their nature, they're artists. But one of the major art platforms that we push is rap. Right. And so these guys neglect their pen stroking or their pen sketching and their brush stroking and their technical designer skills. Because Joe, some of the guys we have with your personal mentor, mentee, D, I didn't even know he did tech design. And while he can get behind the mic, his art, he would prefer to express his art through technical design. But again, we don't push that platform. So I kind of fell victim to that as well. But I mean, everything gonna come back around full circle eventually. Right. So I'm just capturing this, man. We got to capture the movement. I know we said the revolution won't be televised, but it got to be. It has to be. Right. There are parts, we're not going to incriminate ourselves. We definitely, the camera's cutting off at a certain time, right? Of course. As you watched an American Skin, if you have not watched it, please go watch it. The camera's got to cut off at a certain point, but they got to be on, because one thing we have to do now is accept that cameras are one of our ways that we're recording history, right? I'm adamant about taking photos, because photos, when I look back on it, man, you can recall the memory, but life is moving so damn fast right now. It's hard to capture everything. Yeah. So my group is rocking, man. We rolling.
That's what's up, man. That's what's up. I'm glad to hear such energy. And it's funny that both you and Awesome kind of give 2 different perspectives of the energy that y'all are feeling. But the one thing that's consistent is the creativity. Throughout all of y'all, man. It's amazing.
Y'all asked a question earlier and Awesome kind of touched on it, but I wanted to just drive it a little bit more. When the calling happened, man, Awesome and Sabre can attest to it. Maybe they can, maybe they can't. But when we got on set at the studio, recently we had to transfer to another studio, just out of the blue. And we didn't have anybody drop off. In fact, the vibe, the anthem that the world will fall in love with, came out of us transitioning into this space in a hood, you feel me? But that's just, we got to our core and something beautiful came out. Yeah. But since day one, when we have all been getting together, the spirit that's been around, it's been almost, if you was to look at it from outside, right? I study group organization. You look at it from the outside, you would have thought this group was together way longer than it actually was. It's been a couple of weeks, and it's weekends, and it's one day on the weekend. It hasn't been every day. The communication isn't every day. So we're not forming and doing typical group things, but because everybody is aligned spiritually, man, you would think we'd have known each other since, I don't know, but the diapers.
And I've seen Marty there. Marty's been there pretty consistently. And I rolled up one time just for our interview that y'all did with me. And there's a vibe, man. Like if like they be saying in the meme, if vibe was a picture, it'd be what I walked in on that Saturday and saw all y'all together. Like that was a vibe. That was a whole vibe, man. So I can see the energy. Sabre, I want to get your take on how your group is doing, how that energy is coming along, and what your thoughts are so far, bro.
You hear me?
Yeah, I hear you, man.
Just touching to a lot of what El and Austin have been saying. I just been kind of playing it to the back as far as like we spoke about transition to power. A lot of these younger people are college students at HBCUs. They got talents. So I've been working with Darius as far as getting them on the camera when we're in the studio for a session, and then the next session, just like you said, capturing the vibe, not really overstepping, not doing too much, and then just being there for those young guys. Because a lot of times, like, we got a lot of ideas as far as the merch, the market, and the product, everything that they want to put out, but just helping them make it make sense, man. So it's been special to see them just be motivated by the project, as well as just get it in there and just being a helping hand, just giving them an understanding of what it looks like for it all to come together. So it's been good, man. It's been a great vibe as far as the studio, as well as
absolutely, Sabre.
for
Go
real,
ahead, man. What were you saying?
It's just been a special vibe, especially when we get to the studio these last few weekends. It's just been good to see them, man. They all been in high spirits. They all, like El said, you think they've known each other their whole life from how they interacting, and just seeing them motivated to get out a quality project, man, it's been special to be a part of. So I'm just thankful for it. I'm thankful that they've been receptive to all the information.
Yeah, awesome. It's interesting from our perspective, specifically Mauli and myself, like we've been in these environments with young creators, innovators, and entrepreneurs. As we've seen you all interact with one another, this actually happened early on. I asked Mauli, I said, so these guys worked with each other before? They know each other? and his response was, if you know him, the Cheshire Cat smile reply was, no, they don't. And that was him saying, this is
you
all
sound just
together.
like him.
Yeah, this all coming together, right? And that this book that he has been writing over these years that he and I communicated about a lot, all kind of came together. What the book was about came together in that it became the commonality between this group of young folks. Y'all don't necessarily know each other like that. Y'all, there wasn't a group of folks that were tight knit, but the commonality that you had was that book, and this what that book's message was or is, and that you all have read the book and gone through it, and it's relatable, right? And that's, again, going back to what I was talking about earlier. That's the piece that probably within the movement has been a failure, is that the ability of those that were in the past to be able to be relatable to those that are to the future, and this book has done that, a great job of that. The message of the book, but more importantly, how you all have received the book, and it's caused this kind of coalition, if you will, of spirit, because everybody could relate to it, and then it's also everybody's attached to folks like Mauli, myself, Joe, who have some involvement as far as Black Man Lab board or whatever. So there's this connection, and it's been beautiful to watch. And we joke about it. We say, we just got to stay out the way. We can't mess it up for them. We need y'all to do what you're doing. So it's been beautiful. Let me ask you guys this. We're pushing against the clock already, but let me ask you all this, because this is just interesting. As I've watched it and been going through, whether it was reading the book or seeing the project in action, there's been different moments of aha for me. What would you say so far have been your moments of kind of, I get this, or this is really speaking to you? Is there one particular moment that actually made you become even more engaged in the project? You really, and those kind of like the lights went on for you. Whoever wants to answer first.
So I can say, for one, it was definitely this studio. So that was the first time I was really going out the way and meeting everybody and actually being able to record for the first time. So the first studio session didn't work out. And so we had to move to the second one. And then everybody saw it as an inconvenience. But lo and behold, we're just in there. It's a group of Black creatives, once again, all coming together. And it was really genuine energy. Like everybody wanted to be there and express themselves. And so one thing I did too was when I came into the room when we were doing the anthem, it was about already 8 people in there. And I come in there, they're already excited. They're already rehearsing. They got the music bumping. And you know, it's something when they got the music bumping. And so they're all riding and everything. And so I sit down and I'm watching everybody and I see how influencing it is just to be there. And it was like almost like an intoxicating feeling to just observe it, even just seeing it from the youth, because it's crazy because a lot of times we're on our phones and not caring. Not one person had a phone out unless they were writing their bars down. So that was just a big moment for me.
And you know what's interesting about that, Austin, is that piece there, what you're talking about, it's not by happenstance. That's the African spirit, right? When we're allowed to be in a space that we are uninhibited by what would be our oppressor's mindset, right? We're uninhibited by all those things that we're told are supposed to be the right way versus what our spirit knows is the right way. When we're uninhibited by that, you see what you felt, right? And I know exactly what you're talking about because I stepped in that room as well. And I didn't have to say a word. I just stepped there. I was like, whoa, this is spirit. So that's the piece that one, what this project was looking to have is that safe. We always talk about Black men, safe and sacred space, right? To be Black men, but really, this is a safe and sacred space for us to be who we are at our natural selves, right? And that's creative, innovative, and then the entrepreneurship comes out of that, right? That's who we are as a people. We've had to be that way. Historically, we've had to be creative and innovative to survive the way that we have and evolve the way that we have to where we are today. And that's what's so important for you all to have that level of realization about, is understanding that, your greatness is there times 10 for us. Number one, you've learned a lot more than what we've learned in our lives just through technology. But secondly, to be able to let that veil down of oppressor mindset and have that African spirit within you creates what happens and what's happening with this project. Because you think about it, to your point, this has been going on for, how many weeks? We've only been at this for a really relatively short period of time. Yeah, 4 weeks. And we're already putting out amazing content. And we know that the end product is going to be amazing as well. What about you, El? What about you? What was your kind of aha moment that you had since this started going?
I thought it was the first day when I kind of linked up with Sway, which is Martin K, and who kind of had no idea what he was doing behind the camera, but he just said, "I'm gonna jump in," and I'm like, he's been directing. Like no one really knows that he's not a behind the camera guy. He doesn't do cinematography,
hey,
but
he's fooling the hell out of me, man, because he damn sure seems like he knows what he's doing.
He's become my partner, and I just always, I just look at it like the successful people who go places, man. It ain't that they knew what they were doing all the time. It's let me jump in and let me learn. Right? Their ability to want to learn trumped everything, right? Because this is not a resume thing. This is not a corporate thing. This is not anything that required per se skills. This is a thing where your elders called on you and you answered the call. And so by spirituality, you're going to fit in where you're supposed to be. Like Austin said, he came to work on merchandise and ended up dropping one of the hottest bars out there on the track, and has a song where he did it too. So, and he and I, again, these are some of the guys that I would not necessarily, I don't even know that I would have met with the exception of Sabre outside of this space. But here we are just bonding. So I thought that was my moment, but my moment was what Awesome and you have just been describing was when I took the camera off the battery record, at the battery charger, and we were filming the "We Need You" anthem in that small room, and it just gave me like real ancestor vibes. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like it made me shed a tear, man. And I'm working on being emotional more, but me and Baba Mauli we looked at each other and it was just this kindred, like, damn, man, we doing it. And like we fist bumped each other in the name of COVID. We just fist bumped each other and we just was like a real moment, like, wow, like, look at this, like, this is crazy. And we ran it back and the feelings was still there. Like, you know, you guys saw me with the camera. It was just, you know, when you see the Holy Ghost get into somebody in church, for those who've been in church, right? When you see that and you thinking like, now some of it I think is being a little extra, but when you see that into somebody and you just get to, it was just one of the moments, man. I just was like, wow, like, this is the power that our oppressors know about because they've seen, they witnessed. This is the power of why we need you. This is the power that has to be televised because Black kids don't know. Black kids don't know that this exists. We're not told that this can happen. Oftentimes, we're not even on the same page or raised the same way. So that when we see the other Black men, somebody asked recently, how are we able to kill each other? Well, if I don't have self-love, it's easy.
Exactly.
Right? It's easy for me to go out there and, Awesome look like a geek. Let me not mess with him.
Exactly.
Sabre got a funny Mighty Ducks hat. Let me not mess with him. You feel me? Like, that brother Joe, he always on that African shit. Like, it's easy to turn off.
Hey, L done low-key roasted everybody on here, just FYI. L low-key roasted. He think he's slick with it.
I'm saying.
I was like, bro, you just gonna come for everybody on the call, bro?
I'm gonna come to you about homie. I'm gonna see you in a few days, bro.
I was like, well, he didn't get me,
Uncle
so
Marty,
well.
You safe because you had the Black Man Laugh shirt on. They out here producing other stuff. Nah, I'm playing. But no, it's just easy to do those things, man, when you're not tapped in, when you haven't been given the foundation. And one thing I don't want the people that's on this project, the youngins, is to accept that we can't neglect. Sabre told me this, and I never knew to appreciate it until I met Sabre. He said, bro, you got to be thankful that you grew up in a household that allowed you to be conscious. And I didn't really understand that. Like, I really never understood that. It's just my upbringing. But he said, bro, you got to really realize, like, this is who you are. Yeah, you done did X, Y, and Z, but this is who you are at your core. He said, this is some shit I had to come into on my own, that the family didn't reject it and neglect it sometimes. Oh, here comes Sabre on that shit.
Wow.
Right? Deep. But, you know, it's those, I want the guys and the girls and the women and the men of this project to understand, like, we've been blessed to have this form of consciousness, and now we have to reshape it and make it look different so that the world know consciousness ain't dashiki this, dashiki that. Consciousness ain't speaking 8-syllable words. Conscious ain't, the black instead of black. Nah, conscious is as simple as, that young man going through something. Let me rechange how I'm approaching him so that I can connect to him. Right? Consciousness is, that has X, Y, and Z in it. Let me not drink that because this is what my parents died of. That's consciousness. And then it can evolve from there. So I know that was a little bit long-winded, but my turning point was the "We Need You" anthem, man. That was awesome.
Yeah.
That's what's up.
That when you talk about consciousness, right? There is quite often where folks get misconstrued with what consciousness is. Because you can have some brothers that are, as you said, dashiki wearing, which is obviously nothing wrong with that, or, putting their fists in the air with the best of them, but they're not living.
Right.
They're not living a conscious life, right? And what does that mean? That means understanding that we are different as a people. right? And understanding that what we have as a people is a strength that is untethered. It's stood the test of time. We know that, right? We know that our strength as a people has stood the test of time. And we also know that that strength is what makes us vulnerable to somebody wanting to oppress us. Because of what we are, that's why people would want to oppress. Because their spirit, their community is built on something completely different than what ours is. So being conscious is knowing that that's the case. I don't care what you wear. I don't care what words you use. Being conscious is knowing that that is the case. And behind everything that we do, that is the case, right? When there is a young brother that's struggling out in the street, understand why he's that way. What got him that way? You can always go back to one thing. And I'll leave it at that. I'm not going to say that on this public forum, but we can always go back to one thing. What about you? What about you? Sabre.
I would say I had two moments. Definitely last weekend we moved studios. It was just it was a different focus. It was the studio that we've been using was nice and it was on that upscale level, but when we got to that, it was still a great level of quality at the second studio, but it was more tight. Everybody kind of had to really be next to each other. So it was kind of special to see that level of focus go up. And then that first week that I came to the studio, the young sister, when I heard her singing her verse that's on the We Need You, I was just like, damn, like, man, like we really, like, and I'm one who, I do a lot of different things in the community, but I was just like, man, this ain't about, like we talking about, it felt like everybody was there for the right reasons. Nobody was there trying to get some credit. Nobody there was, was worrying about money. Nobody was there worrying about what somebody had on. Nobody was there worried about anything, superficial, which is what a lot of times we all get caught up in. And it was special to just see them all like going to the studio and really the things that I was hearing, like it was saying, like we all been on a million Zoom calls, we've been on a million phone calls and a million Zoom calls where we just sitting, at the bed or at the desk or something. But to kind of be at the studio these last few times where it was really like, okay, I can see y'all in person for the first time. I can talk to y'all for the first time and see,
Sure.
like, I was like, oh man, nah, like, this is gonna be big. This is gonna be powerful. And it's not about, nothing other than our people. Like we're not doing it for no other reason. And it was just, like we said, you could feel that energy. Like when you was breathing, you take a deep breath in there, it felt like electricity go through you. You know what I'm saying? It kind of just give you that excitement where it's like, oh yeah, man, y'all gonna take this so far. So it was exciting.
And the interesting thing is it was it was just natural, right? It was not something that it was manufactured in any kind of way. And again, that speaks to the spirit of our African souls, and that we have this ability to commune, and that's what Black folks do. I forgot who said that earlier, but we were talking about us being accepting, but that's us being a people that are always about community. And it gets dissected and disrupted quite often. But at the soul of all of us, that's what it is, and again, what's come together with this project been nothing but that. It's just been about us communing together, coming together and creating, and it's been beautiful. Fellas, we are up against the clock already, but one of the things that we do every week is we make sure we ask our panelists about their habits, rituals, and disciplines that they do every day. It keeps them to move forward. And so we're going to ask that of you guys. Although you're of the younger generation, we know that there are certain things that you all are doing every day to help you to maintain in this world that we're in currently. So I'm going to start with you, Awesome. If you could just tell us your habits, rituals, and disciplines that you kind of do on a daily basis, brother.
So some of my habits, rituals, and what was the last one again?
Disciplines.
Okay. So one of them was getting organized. So I have a calendar in my room now, and in order to organize everything I'm doing from work up to meetings with you guys, up to my business, I use that organization and I make sure I have everything scheduled out for the day. So that's one way it kind of helps me as like something daily to look at, or something to look at for the future and know something's coming up.
Good stuff, man. Good stuff. It's funny you mentioned that. I said this last week or the week before. I'm real big on my calendar too, and I got a new phone. My old phone broke, but my calendar, I kept everything in my calendar. Like, so I just knew it was kind of, the alarm goes off, it's either a reminder or something I had to do. Real big about it. Well, when I got my new phone, for whatever reason, out of all the things that didn't come over to my new phone, my calendar didn't come over. And I'm telling you, I've been lost ever since. So I've been trying to work through it. So that's good stuff, man. To have a written calendar is good, man. Miguel, what about you, bro? Habits, rituals, and disciplines.
Yeah, I think I kind of stole his word from Sabre, and I use it often now. But it's being tapped in, man. Tapped in with, like I said, when I meet guys like Austin, and tap in with them. Our relationship is definitely gonna build beyond this project. It's tapping in with even some of the other ones on the project with Sway. You know, like I said, that's just my guy, because his ability to jump in, and it ain't that he got the people fooled, but he jumped in and learned and is doing. He's not, even though he's directing more so, you know, we came up with some questions and he's been putting out shot lists, and just, he's been giving all that he knows to give, right? One of my main things is give it all you got, because if you don't, you only cheating yourself, right? It's just give grace when it don't work out, but that's only when it don't work out. Outside of that, push. So one of my things is just tapping into my little ones, the OGs. You guys, I gotta kind of get back on that. Since we got virtual with Black Man Lab, I just kind of fell off a little bit due to other projects, but I'll make sure that I tap into my uncles, even with Joe Barker, his sons, like, because I know what it was like when I was their age, and I know what I wanted. Even though I didn't get it all the time, I know what I wanted. I know that everybody in this world has wanted a big brother at some point in their life. And, you know, I think I got a little swag to myself. I think I'm cool. And I think my biggest discipline is knowing that I know a little about it.
You I.
You know, I mean, I know a lot about a little, meaning like I know, but compared to this world, what I can learn, it's this big. So I try and stay tapped in. I try and continuously choose growth every time over everything else. And I fall victim, you know. The world ain't been fair. It ain't been nice. And so some things in me have been turned off, but I've been advantageously turning them back on so that I can show up. Whenever my seeds arrive, I can show up for them how my dad showed up for me and more.
Absolutely, man. You said some good stuff there, brother. That propensity to give, right? To have an output, whether that's, you know, you're talking about tapping in, right? Which means learning more about individuals, and then that connects you with them more, and eventually maybe you're able to give that person something, whether it's knowledge that you have or a helping hand or whatever, and then amazingly you see the laws of reciprocity work out where that comes back to you, right? And that's far more. I say this all the time. What you give out is far more important than what comes in, right? Because giving out of yourself and having that honest approach to life, you find that I'll use this term: love finds you a lot easier. When I say love, I'm not just talking about in a relationship type of love. I'm talking about love from the standpoint of the world giving back to you, you know, and it becomes a whole bunch more satisfying than, hey, I got me a new car, you know, or what I did for me. So having that mindset at an early age, relatively early age, is impressive, man. Because I know at 25,
not the relatively,
it's still relatively, man. At 25, man, I had one real concern at 25, and that was this guy. That was it, you know. And looking back now, I wish that I didn't, because the work that we do today, I could have been doing that back then had I had the right people in my, around that guided me to it, sure. So,
But you're doing it now.
yeah, oh yeah, absolutely. And the most satisfying work that there is that I've ever done. So you're absolutely right. What about you, Sabre? What are your habits, rituals, and disciplines, bro?
My favorite one is just getting up early and being present for a couple of moments, like just kind of breathing. Like
Now, when you say get up
if
early,
you
what's
ever
early for you, brother?
like in between 5, 6:30, 6:30
Okay.
at the latest. I'm
Okay.
up, I'm moving. Like I usually try to be at the gym by 6:30 at the latest.
Okay.
But just get up.
And I'm gonna
work
tell you,
out,
he's late
man.
to the gym.
I might be, but I'm there. Yeah, I'm definitely there.
Just
either
get
way.
there, brother. As long as you get there.
4 or 5 times a week, I try and work out and just get to the gym and just clear my mind, man. I don't know about y'all, but the pandemic been affecting everybody. Like even with me, like it's been different to be in the house, to not experience my family, to not experience the friends. Like I'm an introverted person. I stay to myself, but at the same time, I like being able to be around my family and my friends, the people who I connect with. I like to be able to connect with them and just be in contact. So with the pandemic, I've been I always been one to work out, but I've been more dedicated to keep my mind sane, as well as just when I get up early, I got up at like 4 the other day and just kind of chilled and breathed, and just made some tea and just wrote down some stuff that I was thankful for, things that I want to see change, things that I was happy that I was in the position that I was in. Because like you were saying, Marty, like when you thankful and when you just not looking at a bunch of other stuff, the universe tend to attract what you want. You know what I'm saying? It tends to send those things towards you in some, way, shape, form, or fashion. So I've been real adamant over the last, few years, just staying thankful to wherever I'm at in life, to whatever's going on, the good, the bad, the ugly. Always just, get up and write something down and say, hey man, I'm thankful for, blase blah happening the other day. I'm thankful for this situation that I'm in. I'm thankful for, being able to connect with certain people. And like you said, sometimes it ain't even about opportunity or, financial gain. I'm just thankful to sometimes, especially with the pandemic, I'm just thankful to get up and be in a positive mind state. Cause it is some days where I'm negative, where I'm like, bro, what's going on? And I'm not really understanding. It ain't nothing you can do about it right now. It's just a crazy time that nobody's experienced, And I'm like, damn, bro, like, be thankful. You could be, it's people who homeless. My good friend Joe, he just came back from LA and he was talking about Skid Row, how big it got, and how much, how many people are really affected. Like we're affected, of course, but like how many people really being impacted by this, being on the side of the road, and just losing loved ones, losing lives. And, we've all lost people. We've all been in certain situations, but I'm always somebody who's like, hey, this was going on right now. I don't like to bring myself in it because my family, thankfully, a lot of us have been healthy. We had a few of my family and friends who get COVID, but everybody has bounced back. So it's been, it's been a different time. So I would say just getting up and just being positive, just breathing and just taking that time.
Yeah,
Look, man,
that piece of walking in grace every day, right? Where we have a level of understanding that we're grateful for everything that we have, and moving with the right spirit, you find that right spirit also finds you. Especially if there's no prerequisite for it. I'm not doing it because I'm trying to make money off of it. I'm not doing it because I'm trying to get other people to do anything. It's just the spirit. Right? It's just that spirit of grace that you walk in, find to come back to you. So completely understand where you at with that, Sabre. So thank you so much, man. Fellas,
hey man, you guys,
go ahead.
I do just want to say one thing as we close out, man. You guys have been amazing. As always, I know El had to jump off. But if you don't hear from anywhere else, man, Attorney Davis said it, we've all said it, but let me just say this. Awesome, Sabre, El, we need you. We appreciate you. We're grateful for you, man. Keep up the good work. We know that there's some sisters out there with you doing some good, strong work as well. We know that. And I just got the word that we're gonna have some of the sisters on next week doing this same format. So man, y'all come back and view us next week where we interview some of the sisters that are on the project with you guys, Awesome and Elle and Sabre, and show some of their strength and how they've added value to the project, because it's not happening without them, man. It's not. We need them too. So I just want to say thank you. My thing is gratitude always. Thank you, Marty, as always, man, for giving me a platform to get some questions out for these young brothers that I'm in space with a lot, man, and I'm so grateful to learn from them. So appreciate you guys, man. We need you.
Absolutely. So, brothers, we're over time, so we want to close out like we do every week. And you all, I'm sure, are familiar with our kind of traditional closeout of every meeting that we have. There's Sister Injiri Al-Ghani of the Pan-African organization called Cobra, and she closed out all their meetings each time that they met, closed out with what we call a link in the chain. So we'll ask all of you all to raise your arms up and link as if we were together, because if we were in our normal space, we'd all be linking arms right now. And just repeat after me. I'm a link in this chain.
I'm a link in this chain.
And it won't break here.
And it won't break here.
I'm a link in this chain.
I'm a link in this chain.
And we won't break here.
And we won't break here.
We are links in this chain.
We are links in this chain.
And we won't break here.
And we won't break here.
Ashe.
I say, brothers.
Okay, brothers. Thank you so much. Again, next week, everybody, we will be following up with another one of these sessions around our We Need You project. We will have some of the young ladies on and possibly some of the mentors as well, other mentors that we have for the project next week. So please tune in. Also, if you are interested in Black Man Lab gear like this, what I'm wearing, please go to the website and or you can order your pieces, and that's at blackmanlab.org. So feel free to go there and see what we have available. That's it. Anything else you got, Joe?
I don't, man. Just
Okay.
again, thank you guys. We need you, love you, and we'll see y'all next week, brothers.
All right, brothers. Thanks again. Love y'all, man. Thank you.